I'm so happy to have you finally here.
Thank you for having me. I'm thrilled to talk to you.
I feel like we planned this, it feels like ages and ages ago now, but I'm sure that it feels even longer for you because you've been sitting on the book for however many months, years. How does it feel that it's like so close to being out in the world?
It's like such a royal of emotions. Like I feel like half of me is in disbelief that it's here, and half of me is like so ready for this to be out in the world. In many ways, it feels like it already is. It's been in my heart and my mind for so long, and also because it was a book of the month selection, it's been out for like weeks for some people, and so it feels like it had this sort of like soft launch into the world, and which has been so cool. And so it feels like it's kind of here, but kind of not. And I'm just like really excited and ready for it to actually be here.
Well, I'm excited to get to chat with you about it. And in case no one knows yet, we are speaking about the Heartbreak Hotel. And so I would love to let you just give us a little bit of a synopsis of it.
Yeah. So The Heartbreak Hotel is a love story between Louisa, who is a therapist opening a bed and breakfast for the brokenhearted in the mountains of Colorado, and Henry, who is her landlord and hates that she is doing this with his house because he has a hidden heartbreak of his own that he has not confronted.
That is a perfect, I would have gone on and on about that. So you did such a perfect job. It's almost like you've practiced.
Just like a little bit, just like once or twice.
Yeah, you know, kind of. I do want to backtrack a little bit. I want to know a little bit more about you and how you got to this point in your author journey.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've been writing forever. I think a lot of writers have been writing since they were kids, or at least have been readers since they were very young. And so it's always been a part of my life. But I've been in publishing since 2023 is when my debut novel came out, which is a YA. It's called 7% of Roe Devereaux. And then I had another YA novel, The Someday Daughter, that came out last year. And so while The Heartbreak Hotel is my debut in many ways, it is not my debut in every way. But it is my first adult novel. So I'm super excited to be branching out into the romance genre and to be sharing space with romance readers who are just like so freaking cool and so engaged. And I just love talking to them and writing for them and getting to hang out with them. And yeah.
There's no lack of passion for sure.
No, no, which is amazing. Like there is nothing better than book people and book people who are so excited and unapologetic about what they love. So yeah, it's just an honor to be breaking into this new genre with this book.
So, where did you get the inspiration for the Heartbreak Hotel?
Yeah, there's actually like like usually my books don't come to me in like a blaze of glory. It's kind of like little pieces that build up over time. But this one did have like a very specific origin story. I was at a John Mayer concert. He did this solo acoustic tour in 2023, and so I went to see him where I live in Colorado, and he was performing a cover of Tom Petty's song "Free Fallin'," which I've heard 1 million times in my life. But for some reason, this time that lyric, all the bad boys are standing in the shadows and all the good girls are home with broken hearts, just hit me like differently than it ever had before. And I was like, all the good girls are home with broken hearts. Like, what if they were all home together in the same house with broken hearts? And that was kind of the initial seed of the idea. And then it just grew from there. And so it was like, okay, why? What possible premise could require all these people to be together? And so it was like, well, of course it should be a therapist who is like creating this space for people. And then I love the idea of a story about heartbreak also being a romance. Pain and love are so intertwined, and they're both such deep feelings. And so then it was like, okay, well, who's the right guy for this woman? And of course, it should be someone that is struggling with a really intense hurt of his own that she is able to help him with. And of course, there's so many things that he is able to help her with as well. And so that was kind of how it like snowballed into the book that it is today.
That's such a fun little piece of inspiration. I think it's like you said, so often inspiration comes in like little snippets, but when you get to hear something like that, it is so entertaining. And I mean, as a Tom Petty girl, like I love that so much. That's one you won't forget. So as the title indicates, and you mentioned, there are a lot of heartbreak situations, and just like weightier subject matter within the book, within different people's stories. We get to meet a lot of different characters, and some of the things that are included are loss and mental health. So how did you approach writing with sensitivity and care, but still staying hopeful because Louisa is a hopeful person.
Yeah, Lou, she's the sunshine girl. It was really important to me in writing a book about heartbreak that I talked about a lot of different types of heartbreak. And of course, there are people who come to the hotel who have just been dumped. There's a divorcee, but it's also, the story also grapples with grief, the pain of losing someone. And it grapples with like this very specific and complicated kind of grief that happens when you watch someone you really love struggle with a mental illness that you can't fix for them. And so, Lou's mother in the book, she has borderline personality disorder. And so Louisa's had this really tough childhood where she was kind of raised in part by her mom, who was at times a very present and wonderful mother, and at times was not capable of that. But in part by her older sister, Goldie, who she now has this really complex adult relationship with because they had a very complex relationship when they're both growing up. And it was really important to me that I got, especially that mental illness piece right. And so I worked with a sensitivity reader who is a licensed clinical social worker, specializes in working with clients who have borderline personality disorder, because I wanted to make sure that not only did I get that right, but that I was being generous about it. I wanted to make sure I was never villainizing Louisa's mother, and just that I was writing their relationship in a way that made sense and was true to life. And also, I just wanted to talk to a therapist because Louisa is a therapist and I am not one. And so I wanted to make sure that I was getting her frame of mind correctly. And so I think like when you're writing about really tough subjects, if they're outside of your lived experience, it's so important to like phone a friend, and just make sure that you have a second pair of eyes looking at what you're doing. And even if your intent is never to be harmful, just like having someone else making sure that that's not happening, is super important. And so that was really invaluable to me as I was writing this book, for sure.
I think it shows too, the care that you so obviously put into it. Like it reads as you go through the story. So it's just so beautifully done. And I think you made the right decision there.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So, Lou, we meet her at a very vulnerable time of her life. Things are not going how she envisioned, pretty much just anything she could think of, it's the opposite. But I wanted to know why it was important for you to tell her story and introduce her in a way that shows, like, hey, this is a really special person that doesn't have everything going the way that she hoped, but she still remains hopeful and she just grasps onto that and kind of is able to move forward in a way that's healthy while also not ignoring, the things that she needs to heal.
Yeah, I mean, as I already mentioned a little, like Louisa had a really tough upbringing, and I think that like when that happens to a person, it can go so many different ways. You can emerge from it really jaded, um, and wanting to protect your heart. You can emerge from it wanting to create a safer and happier and better life for yourself. And I think that's the camp that Louisa falls into. I think her older sister maybe falls a little more into the former. Um, and so Lou is this really positive person who wears her heart on her sleeve. She's very open to emotions. She's open to helping other people with their emotions. She's always looking for the best in others. But inherent in that is kind of like she has this tendency to minimize her own pain and her own struggles and to not ask for help even if she might need it. And so that's a big part of her arc, and part of what Henry helps her with is he creates this safety in her life, someone who is reliable and shows up for her and creates this comfort for her that she hasn't experienced much in her life, of someone that she can lean on and someone she can open up to and someone she can admit to, like, actually, like maybe I'm not okay. Maybe everything isn't okay with me, because that's her fallback. Is she's always like, no, this is fine. Like, I'm going to figure this out. This is good. It's all, it's all good. And Henry creates this safety for her to admit that that's maybe not always true for her, and that it's okay for that to not always be true for her. And so, I talked a little bit earlier about how Louisa does so much for Henry in terms of helping him process his grief, but he also does so much for her and helping her kind of accept that, like, she doesn't have to always be that sunshine person, even though that's such a superpower of hers, but we can't be one thing all the time. It's okay for her to need help too.
Yeah, and I love their dynamic. I mean, I feel like I could just kind of go back and forth. Everything you say, I could be like, yes, I love that so much. But yeah, I mean, I think that it was really special to watch how their differences really made them work so well together.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I think from the time they meet, I mean, we know it's a romance. We expect an HEA, but from the time they meet, I think that their chemistry is just like so palpable. How do you like? What is your secret? What is the key to writing chemistry between characters, especially when they're meeting for the first time on page? I feel like that to me always seems like one of the hardest things. Is like, how do you take two strangers and make them like, bam, we know that they're meant to be together?
It is hard because like I love writing a romance where they have history, because it's like so much easier. It's really hard when they meet on the page because you don't want it to be like an insta love situation, but you want the reader to be like, oh yeah, like there's something here immediately. I talk a lot about when to meet cute. Meet cute should ask a question. Like it should be like it should introduce a curiosity that these characters have about each other that like the reader's like, oh, I gotta figure that out. I gotta unravel it as I'm reading. And so I think that's part of it. But for me, what I'm always looking for when I'm reading romance, which of course I love to do, and when I'm writing romance, is like not just the attraction between these people, because of course that's part of it. But why does it have to be this person for this person? It's like that's what I want in a romance. Is it's like, oh yeah, like it's gotta be him for her. Like there's no one else. It has to be these two, and I want to believe that so fully. And so that's what I'm always trying to achieve when I'm writing a romance too. And so I think it's like the things we've been talking about already. It's like these wounds that Henry and Lou have that just match up. I was really lucky to have BK Borison blurb this book, and in her blurb she says something like the broken pieces of their hearts just fit together just right. And so that's how I think of it too. It's like they just have this magnetism to each other because they can teach each other what they need to learn, but also like heal each other in these very specific ways, that no one else in their life has been able to do for them before.
I love that approach. I've never heard it verbalized that way, in which like, why just this person? Why can't it be anyone else in the world? And that I think that that's a really fun way to approach it. Henry, he stays a mystery for a while, and even though he's kind of mysterious, you don't know his backstory immediately. He's just irresistible. He's like this endlessly irresistible character. But obviously, you knew his story. So how quickly, when this kind of formed in your brain, did you know like what his history was going to be, or did that take a while? Like how long? How did that come to be?
I always knew. I always knew about Henry. I think that there's things in every book that surprise you, and there certainly were in this one. But his arc was always what it was. I really wanted this book to be about two people falling in love who have wounds that aren't easily patched up. And Henry, I don't want to spoil anything, but Henry has suffered an incredible loss, and one that will be with him for his whole life. And it's not the kind of thing where like he was dating someone for 6 months and they broke up with him. It's like it's deeper than that. And I really wanted to write a story about two people who are kind of broken in these like what feel like to them very fundamental ways. And with the point being that even if you are in incredible pain, even if you have experienced incredible loss, like there is so much joy still to be found in this life. And there are people who can teach you so many things about love and happiness, even and not in spite of that. It's like in addition. And so that's why I chose to give Henry the story that he has. And yeah, so that he could be kind of this tool in this book to send that message that even if it feels like you are never going to be okay again because something so horribly sad has happened in your life, you will be okay. And it's not because that thing isn't sad. It's in addition to that thing being sad that there is still so much love and so much light in this human experience for you.
One element of Henry's story that I'm not going to spoil anything either, but he does have a secret that kind of plays out. And as I was like reading the story the first time, I was thinking like, how do you do this where you know something about a character as the writer, and you don't necessarily want it to become a huge shock, but you do want shock factor. How do you like sprinkle breadcrumbs throughout without making it too obvious, without giving things away?
That's a really good question. I find writing twists to be really one of the hardest things because they always feel incredibly obvious to me because I have known them since the beginning. And so I think that's really where like you have to trust your beta readers and your editor. And like, you know, I always ask when I'm sending out an early draft, like, at what point in the story did you figure this out? Or did you not figure it out until the reveal? And then also when the reveal came, were you surprised in a, oh my God, of course way? Or were you surprised in a, that doesn't make any sense way? Because you want it to be the first one. Because a good twist is one that you don't see coming, but that when it gets revealed to you, you're like, duh, like, how did I miss that? And so that one, it's like, I do a lot of the work, but then it's like so much of the work is also just checking it with other people and workshopping it because I find that really difficult to mess with you.
No, that makes a lot of sense. I feel like that would be just terribly terrifying. Like, oh gosh, did I miss the mark here? Do I have to go back and just redo all of this, or did we land it? Um, how did you choose to write single point of view?
You know, I love a single POV romance because that's what it feels like to fall in love. Like you don't get to know what the other person is thinking, and that's part of the like incredible emotional soup of falling in love is like the like, oh my God, like do they feel the same? Are these signs that I'm picking up on actually there, or do I just want this so bad that I'm making them up? Like I that like intense angst and yearning. Not that you can't have it in a dual POV romance because so many people do it so well. I love a single POV because to me that is like the realist estimation of what it feels like actually to fall in love.
That's a perfect reason. I love that. And I think that it is so it's one of the most frustrating things about writing or reading a single point of view because you're just like, please tell me that we're reading these signs correctly. um yeah, I loved it. I tend to lean toward enjoying dual POV, but I mean this one just like blew me away. I think that it was exactly what I would want from a single point of view.
Thank you.
So we've talked about the backstory. We talked about how you got the inspiration for the Heartbreak Hotel. How much did it change from the earliest conception to, what we get here in print?
You know, not tremendously. And but this one from the start it was like pretty much the story that it was, and that's not to say that little things didn't change. Of course they did. And I tend to draft my first drafts tend to be really lean, so there were a lot of scenes that I added, like the scene when the power goes out, when May and Lou are planning things for the hotel and Henry has to come over and help them, in the murder basement, which is one of my favorite scenes in the book, but that wasn't in my first draft. And so there was a lot that's like that got added, but not a lot of the material like skeleton of this plot changed from the beginning, which is a gift because that is certainly not true with every book that I write. So
Yeah, I was going to say that's got to just feel so rewarding that it panned out that way, but I'm really grateful that the power outage scene was added because it's definitely one of my very favorite, and I think that that would have been it's richer for having it.
thank you. Thank you.
How or if readers could only take one thing, I think, we've kind of talked about a lot of the points that could be taken away and it may be a repeat, but if they could only take away one thing, what would you hope that is?
Yeah, I love this question. Thank you for asking it. There's a scene in the book where Lou is talking to some of her guests at the inn, and they're kind of comparing their heartbreaks and like not really one-upping each other, but like a little bit. And she's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. You know, heartbreak is not like a apples to apples situation. Um, we don't get to give permission to let things hurt us. Like something doesn't come along and we don't get to say, I'm going to be bothered by that or that's going to wound me. Like it just happens. And so I think if readers could take away one thing, it would be that, like, your pain is valid. Our internal worlds are so real to us. And no matter what you're feeling, no matter what you're going through, there are people who want you to be okay again, who want to help you face that, whatever it is. And just like never doubt that what you're feeling matters and what you're feeling is real. I think that's the biggie.
Yeah, that's so special. And I don't think people often, I think it's easy to forget that sometimes just having permission to feel matters. Like, even from someone else, it's like, yeah, I like hearing that. Thank you for the reminder. It is important because we can be so hard on ourselves.
Totally. Like, I literally wrote a book about it, and I still have to remind myself of that every freaking day. So, yes.
Exactly. Yeah, we never make it easy for ourselves.
No, no.
Well, you did already talk about how this is your first adult romance, but it's not your first book. You've written YA. So I would like to know a little bit more about like the biggest differences in writing this genre versus another.
Yeah. I mean, like, I think that some more subtle. I thought that I was pretty intimidated to switch over. I was like you write YA for a long time, and then you're like, oh, well, maybe my characters are just going to be 18 forever. And like, do I even know how to do this? And I found myself just like totally sinking right into it. And I just had truly the best time writing this book. And I was surprised. What I love so much about writing YA is that when you're a teenager, you're grappling with this question of like who you want to be in the world and how you want to show up for other people and how you want to show up for yourself. And I love that. Like, that's my favorite thing to write about, is like identity. It's like how do I want to do this human experience thing? And I was scared to not get to do that anymore. And then I wrote this book, and it taught me that like that work is never over. Like, that is a lifelong project, figuring out who we are. The answer to that question changes all the time. That's great and okay. And so that was like a surprising joy of writing this book, is I was like, oh, I can still grapple with this theme that I love so much, because whether you're 18, whether you're 26 like Lou, whether you're in your 70s like Nan, you're still constantly being like, who am I, and who do I want to be, and who do I want to be to the people that I love. But the other big difference for me about YA versus adult has been just like the marketing of it, because when you're pitching a YA novel, it's tough to reach the intended audience. Like, even if I'm doing events, it's often parents, educators, librarians, people that I'm talking to who can get books into teenagers' hands. And it's rare that I actually get to talk to a teen about my books. But when I'm marketing my adult novels, I get to talk to people like you. It's like I'm talking directly to my intended readership, and it's just so fun and so rewarding. And we said this at the top of the meeting, like, romance readers are the best. They are so passionate and so engaged, and I just am like thrilled that I get to be here with you all. So that's been really fun too.
Well, we're so happy to have you. Um, Speaking about marketing, this wasn't a question that I had prepared in advance, but hopefully you don't mind speaking on it. And I am so curious to know what the process is for getting selected for Book of the Month. How you, I don't know, is it an application process? And then how are you told? And what does that feel like?
I wish I could tell you. I don't know how it happened. This is like information that was delivered to me by my publisher. And so I know that they did some magic. I know that they worked their special Berkeley spells and charms. And I'm so grateful that they did. So I wish I could tell you, but I truly do not know. But it has been like such an honor, truly. And I could not be more grateful that that happened for this book. Every time someone tags me in a Book of the Month post, it like truly brings a smile to my face. So I wish I had a better answer for you, but I really don't.
No, I love that for you. And it's been like such a treat for me too. I'm not a Book of the Month subscriber, but several of my friends are, and I saw so many of them like post their selection for the month, and every time I saw yours I was like, "Oh my gosh, we have to talk about this as soon as you read it because I need someone to talk about it with." And every time it was like this broke me and I'm sobbing, but it's also the best thing ever. So I've loved it for you.
Thank you.
If you, I'm just going to pivot here at the end, but if you could give a piece of advice to writers, aspiring authors, what would that be?
Protect your magic. Um, I always tell people that, the writing is the art and publishing is the business. And the more that you can separate those things for yourself, I think the healthier you'll be able to move through this career. Um, Hold on to like what's getting you into your chair and writing your stories. Like that creative impulse is so special. I feel so lucky to have that. I feel so lucky to be the kind of person that sits down and starts writing a story and feels more like myself. Like making stuff, being the kind of person that makes stuff is such a magic. And like the fact that you can do that at all is incredible. Nothing can take that from you. And, for me, nothing on the business side of the equation has ever filled me up the way that having a good writing day fills me up. So just like hold on to and protect that creative joy, that magic as best as you can, because this is a really tough business. There is so much rejection built into it. You can't get around it. It's there for all of us at some point, at a lot of points. And so it's really tough and it can really wear you down. So just when that's happening, hold on to your magic. Remember what brought you to these stories in the first place. That is the realest thing. That's my advice.
I think that's so special. I think that will help so many people. And it goes beyond just writing, right? It's like whatever it is that makes you you, protect it because you're the only one.
Yeah,
As
exactly.
cheesy as
Like,
that sounds.
no, it's so true. Only you can tell that story, and you should absolutely do it. No matter what anyone is saying around you, no matter if you're querying and you're just getting rejections, like your yes is coming. Keep writing your work. I have this, you probably can't read it. I have this quote on my wall that says, make stuff even if nobody cares. Like, because I still need that reminder all the time. Like, just keep making your art. Make your stuff. Your art matters.
Well, two final questions, but one final question about process is what is your writing process like, and do you recommend it?
That's a great sub question. So my process has changed a lot since I started publishing and having deadlines. I used to be a total pantser, and now I'm a very avid plotter. I am always working from an outline. So once I have an idea, I will write a log line for it, which is just a one sentence description of what the book would be about. And that's how I know if it's interesting or not, because if I can't explain it in a sentence, something's not right yet. And then I will write like a pitch, which usually is like about 3 paragraphs. That's kind of like what you'd have on like the back of the book or in the inside flap. And then from there, I'll do a beat sheet. I love Jamie Gold's beat sheets. They're free. You can find them online. Amazing resources. I use them for every book that I write. And I use her basic beat sheet, which is just 8 beats. And so to me, that's like the basic outline of my book is those 8 beats. And then I'm such a to-do list person. I will be like, okay, what's my word count? If I want each chapter to be X number of words, that means I need this many chapters. My deadline is this day. To hit that, I need to write this many chapters each day. I'll make a calendar that's like each day, which chapters I need to write. And then I look at my beat sheet, kind of figure out like, okay, which scenes are going to happen in each chapter. It's like very mathematical, but it means that when I sit down, I have no excuse because I'm like, I know what needs to get done today. And I can't be like, where's the story going? I don't know. I'm just going to go watch Survivor instead. It's like, no, I know where it's going and I need to get it there. So I need to stay in this chair until that's done.
It's like the ultimate accountability.
Yes. And I don't always stick to it. Like my outlines are a recommendation, not a rule, is what I tell myself. But having them actually enables me to be so much more creative because I feel like I've already done the hard work of making sure that this plot can hold water. And now I just need to like let my creativity like run free within that like already healthy space that I have created, if that makes sense.
It absolutely does. And I just have to circle back that I love that you mentioned going and watching Survivor because I also love
Oh,
Survivor.
we could have a whole separate hour long conversation about that. So Don't
Yeah,
get me
well, I mean,
started unless you're ready.
as I get older, one of my like humble brags, I don't even know if it would qualify, but it's like I've been watching it since day one. So like live, and many people were not even born then, and I was. So
No, I mean, respect. Like, I remember watching the first season of Survivor when I was a kid with my parents, and then did not watch any of the rest of it. But I was a pandemic returner and I like caught up on every season during the pandemic. And now I'm actually watching Australian Survivor right now. So I'm dabbling across the pond as well. Yeah, big thing in my house.
I love that. My husband, he didn't watch it. And then, I don't know, maybe 5 years into our marriage or something, um, I went back and watched every season with him. And he was like, God, these first seasons are rough. I don't know how you did it, but congrats. I said, thank you. But last thing before you go, this hasn't even come out yet. We're still here. We're living here. We love it here. We want everyone to be here with us. Also, what's next?
Yeah, so I do have another romance coming with Berkeley in 2026. Should be late in the year. I don't have an exact pub date yet, but I'm very excited about it, but I can't say too much about it yet. But I will tell you that it majors in my favorite romance trope, which is rivals to lovers. So it has quite a different flavor than the Heartbreak Hotel, but I think that people who loved the Heartbreak Hotel will also resonate with this book. It's very emotional, very character driven, um, and a little spicier, I will say, than the Heartbreak Hotel. So make of
Oh.
that what you will. Yeah, so that'll be next year. I'll have more to say about it soon for sure. But yeah,
Well, I am here and happy to take it whenever you would like to pass it along to me. And I would love to have you back. If you want to come back next year, we'll do this all over again. But until then, thank you so much. Don't hate me when I tag you and keep tagging you talking about this
bring it.
book. Let's don't mind my obsession. But everyone, The Heartbreak Hotel comes out next Tuesday. You should subscribe to the book of the month. Here's an endorsement. Go get it right now so you can have the book now. Don't miss it. You have to read it. And Ellen, I'm so grateful that you spent your evening with me, or late afternoon, and I hope to have you back.
Thank you. I'm so grateful to you. Please never apologize for tagging authors or sharing your enthusiasm for their books. Like, I think I speak for a lot of us when I say that it really means the world. There's nothing that like fills my cup more. So thank you, truly.
Yes, well, it is my pleasure, and I can't wait to see how everyone else responds to this book, because it's so phenomenal, and I hope that release day is just everything you dream.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks. I'll see you soon. Bye,
Bye.
everyone.